Welcome to ACT Fitness Radio. The health and fitness podcast teaching you to aspire, conquer, and transform. Here's your host, Adam Castro.
All right. Well, welcome to ACT Fitness Radio, coming to you from Whittier, California. And in this episode of Adam's Addiction to Zevia, man, they did it! They did it! I didn't think it was possible, but they did it. There is now a new development. They have created a Zevia zero-calorie energy cola flavor. Because there was a like raspberry lime and mango something else, and I kind of liked them both, but didn't really connect with them. But nope, they created a Zevia zero-calorie energy cola flavor. So this will indeed be the death of me. But I mean, on the bright side, just so you guys know, I got a message. I got a message from somebody saying, don't buy them. Drink more water, which I'm totally on board with that message, but you don't understand. You don't understand that I started drinking energy drinks in my sophomore year of high school and had like 2 monsters a day, and that was just the beginning. So believe me, Zevia, 120 milligrams of caffeine is a huge step down from where I was, and so even trainers have things they got to work on. But no, what's really cool about these drinks is that they are zero calorie, zero carbohydrates, using stevia to sweeten them. And one thing that I don't know if they did this on purpose or not, but one thing I really like about them is that they don't have a bunch of vitamins that come along with the caffeine. It's just caffeine. It's just 120 milligrams of caffeine. One of the biggest issues that I have with a bunch of energy drinks and even pre-workouts is that it's a whole bunch of stuff in the serving when all I want is caffeine that tastes good. I don't want a caffeine pill. I want something that tastes good, but all I want is caffeine. So Zevia has provided that for me. Anyways, let's get to this episode, guys. We've got an awesome guest. His name is Danny Matranga. He's been in the fitness industry for about 5 years. He's a fitness writer, a master trainer with certifications under NASM and ACE. He's also LDOA certified, and together we discuss a lot of different topics surrounding personal training. So we give advice on, number one, if you're looking for a personal trainer, what characteristics you should be looking for in that trainer, and number two, if you are a personal trainer, what characteristics you should have and what your focuses should be on as a personal trainer. We also talk a lot about nutrition, more about cheat meals and flexible dieting and meal plans and things like that. And we talk about 30-day weight loss challenges and other mainstream ideas that people have about what is good for their health and fitness that actually may not be good for their health and fitness. So that's what you got in store. But before we get to the episode, I do want to make an announcement. ACT Fitness Media has turned into ACT Fitness Academy. So the new Instagram account is at ACT Fitness Academy, and the new website is www.actfitnessacademy.com. We've got some awesome things planned for the new year, so this organizational change needed to happen. But just to clarify again, www.actfitnessacademy.com will be the umbrella in which everything happens, and so the Instagram will also be at ACT Fitness Academy. The Facebook will also be at ACT Fitness Academy, but the YouTube channel will be ACT Fitness Media, and the podcast will be ACT Fitness Radio. And as always, you will be able to find all of that at the main website, www.actfitnessacademy.com. Man, I talk too much. Let's get to this episode with Master Trainer Danny Matranga. Man, how was your day?
It was actually pretty good. I just finished a little quick Saturday. I usually keep them short on Saturdays with Sunday completely off. So, okay. But that's when I do the majority of my continuing education, my research, all the things that I need to do to stay up to date and that I think are integral to being successful. One of the things I think we see a lot in the industry in general is once people get that little certification, something that qualifies them to work with people, this qualifies you to be a personal trainer.
Right.
That is just the beginning.
Yes. That's the gateway.
A license to consider yourself a master.
That's the gateway to you saying, hey, you do need to learn. You need to start somewhere, and you do need to learn. But I think it's very very obvious that there's just an endless amount of information that we can be taking in, and that certification is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, it's simply the license. I mean, it only really certifies that you know how to turn the car on and, theoretically not kill anybody behind the wheel, but you're far from optimizing people's lives and really helping people in the many avenues that they're going to need you for in health and wellness.
That's right.
It's not just about weight loss. There's obviously so many other facets, and that's where the continuing education piece really comes in. And I think that, and beyond that, the piece of working with the clients, being in the trenches, is where you get a lot of your knowledge.
So are you doing continuing education through more certifications, or are you currently in school right now?
I'm actually wrapping up my education as we speak. I'm currently on the final week of my undergraduate work. So
that's awesome.
For all intents and purposes, my bachelor's in kinesiology is done. I went ahead and took my CSCS examination in my senior year, which they allow.
Awesome.
So the CSCS is soon to be validated. It has been passed, and that's one of those certifications that's pretty prestigious. But even then, it's far from the end all be all. And if I could, and this is one of those things that I almost debate, but you want to legitimize yourself by getting a degree.
Right.
My degree and my undergraduate experience was actually somewhat disappointing. I won't go into roasting my institution by any means, but just because you have a degree in a field does not in any way make you an expert. And I have learned probably 80 to 90% of the functional on-the-job knowledge I use with clients and training trainers daily from being in the trenches, and very little came from academia.
Yeah, and for a lot of people, it's a barrier. It's a barrier to not have a degree, because then they don't believe that you actually know what you know, or there's no proof that you have the experience. But I mean, that's with so many things, man. You either have the experience, or you have the degree, or you're one of the lucky ones and one of the motivated ones to go and get the degree along with the experience and furthering your education and continuing to learn.
Absolutely. I was so lucky to, I guess you could say, gamble and bet on myself to try to work and go to school. And I don't know if I could have done it if I wasn't working in my field of study. That obviously makes the work significantly more enjoyable. But working as a trainer while I went to school for kinesiology, they married quite nicely and really helped me kind of come out a better version of myself.
Oh, I bet.
But it also afforded me so much flexibility with my lifestyle going through school. But I don't know if I would recommend to anybody who knew immediately that, my career is in fitness. My goal is to spend my career in fitness. I want to make a living in fitness. I would not recommend that those people pursue a degree. I would strongly caution them actually from entering the academic route. I would definitely channel them to the route of getting immediately into the field, getting some form of certification, and getting your feet wet with clients. And then, there's so many resources out there that are available to us as trainers, including other amazing trainers, which we never seem to leverage nearly enough.
No, and there's definitely in the industry of trainers, I feel like there's not enough mentorship going on. There's not enough mentorship going on.
Absolutely. There's this somewhat hoarding of, your intellectual property. That's my, people like to seem to hoard what they know rather than sharing it. And I think we all get into the industry with the end goal of helping as many people as possible.
That's right, yeah.
And the best vehicle by which to do that would be to help trainers. You could only have at any given time 20 to maybe 30 clients that you could work hands-on with. But if you're working hands-on with 20 to 30 trainers and you're all improving each other, you just slapped a little exponent right on there, and you're helping, hundreds, if not thousands of people.
Yeah. And that's the impact that you want to make. I think too many people, I mean, a lot of people are just in it for themselves. They just want, the money that they're making. They just want the fame that they're getting. They just want to deal with their own clientele. They don't want to learn from other trainers. They don't want to teach other trainers. But that is not going to help as many people as possible. That's what separates the trainer who is just trying to build a name for himself and the trainer who's actually focused on increasing health and fitness in their local community or increasing health and fitness on the online community.
Absolutely, man. And I've actually seen that so much. So many people that, it's one thing to love fitness and love working out as it pertains to your own body and your own aesthetic and your own performance. Like, I get that. That is like level one on the developmental hierarchy of training. Oh, you're buff, you like to work out, go get certified. Those individuals typically do not last long in our industry. And you can look incredible, but if you do not have the desire to extend knowledge to others, you're too focused on your own development. I've seen some of the most, I guess you could say, the highest potential trainers wash out of our industry very quickly because they are non-empathetic and they don't have the gift of information to other people. It's almost like a selfish type of thing, as weird as it sounds.
Well, and the job title of personal trainer isn't just what we learn in the books. It's not just it's not just about the body. It's also about the mind. It's also about the soul. It's also about their attitude, how they're feeling, what they're putting into their bodies. Like, there's so many things, and sometimes, a lot of the times, it's almost like therapy for them. You're almost a psychologist to them,
Oh, it's so true. One of the jokes I make with some of my staff all the time is, we are cheap therapy. People are, because movement is such an innate form of expression, people are so apt to start spilling their guts the minute they start moving. Like, some of my clients are quiet, and I can tell they're in a funk, and I'm like, oh, how's it going today? Oh, it's fine, and I put them on the TRX, and no sooner than they get 3 reps into a set, and they're, my husband today, you will not believe what he said. And then, the floodgates open. And that's part of being successful, is understanding that the word personal comes before the word trainer.
And we have a relational, we have a relational business, and it's sometimes even more so that if they don't love the person they're working with, if they don't have a connection with the person they're not going to stick with fitness. They're not going to. I think for most people, it is about connection. It is about community and relationships.
Absolutely. And for people that are new to fitness and looking to get into fitness or make a change in their health, like, there is absolutely nothing wrong with getting a coach. You should get a coach. Like, the biggest misconception, I think, when I see people start a fitness journey is they want to try it on their own before they get a trainer, or they think that they can do it on their own as if there's something wrong with asking for help. And it's like, look, if there's something wrong with my car, I'm not going to try to fix it myself. The reason there's something wrong with my car is because I don't know how it works in the first place, or I'm driving it recklessly.
Right.
And most people handle their bodies recklessly with their eating and emotional and physical behavior.
Well, and that's even like,
getting a coach is the vehicle to success.
Well, getting a coach is the vehicle to success, and it's even earlier on the line than that. It's like you're 15 years old and you're saying, I think it's time for me to start driving now. Let me go ahead and try it out on my own first before going through getting my driver's license education and having someone teach me how to drive and all that stuff. No, let me just try it on my own. What's going to happen is you're going to get into an accident. You don't know how to drive. You haven't had the proper training. You don't know how to use the vehicle that you're driving. So it's not even just when something's wrong, but it's the beginning. You don't know how to do things right. And time again, we're in consultations with these people, and we'll immediately see that they have poor recruitment patterns, or they think that this exercise means this, or they just won't know how to connect with their body. And we know that it's important. We absolutely know that it's important, but they could care less. They could care less. And it takes a good trainer not to point out those imperfections in their recruitment patterns and all that stuff. It takes a good trainer to get them to know the importance of that, to have them believe that it's that important, because it is.
Yeah, conveying the message and communication is tantamount for your success, especially with clients who maybe think they know more than they do, because nobody wants to feel stupid.
Right.
Our job is not to make you feel like you don't know what you're doing and to ridicule you. And that's one of the most frustrating things I've seen in our industry, especially with the media's portrayal of personal trainers. You know, if you watch TV and you watch the way that trainers were portrayed on television, we're going to do one of two things. We're going to hover over you, scream at you, yell at you, and call you a or you're going to walk in on us fucking your wife.
Right.
That's it. That's all we do on TV. But in reality, I think the majority of us are out there to make lasting change and educate our clients so that eventually one day they're, you know, the most intelligent members of the gym. I take a lot of pride in explaining to my clients the why of every single movement or modification that we employ in that training session or in that training cycle or in that nutritional counsel, whatever it may be.
And it's all about the why. It's all about the why. It frustrates me when I see trainers and their only goal in even a consultation, a freaking consultation where they're trying to discover what this person needs, they're using up that time to kick their ass. They're using up their time to just focus on the intensity when they're not connecting with that person. They're not knowing what's going on in their background. They don't know what injuries they've had in the past. They're not talking about that. They're just saying, "Oh, you want a consultation? Let me give you a really hard workout. Let me stand tall with my hands folded, chest out, while you do this exercise that I'm telling you to do, and make you sweat a lot." And that's what they choose to spend their time with. When that means nothing. That means absolutely nothing. It's
completely empty. And I'm going to give your listeners a little tip here. If you want to be successful in this industry, a good marker of a great trainer is somebody who is able to acquire, I hate to use the term close, but is able to do a consultation and begin a training relationship with the potential client without ever even touching the workout floor.
Yes.
Sometimes you needn't even get on the floor. All of the information and all of the connection that you're going to need to be successful as their coach and that they're going to need to be successful as your client can be conveyed with simple communication.
Yeah, and what people don't realize is that a lot of their issues and problems aren't on the gym floor. They're not on the gym floor. That's 1 hour out of 24 hours in the day. There's 23 other hours where they could be doing everything wrong. So if they're doing everything right,
I love that. That's so true.
Yeah, if they're doing everything right in that 1 hour, but I'm not helping them with the other 23, and I'm not helping them to succeed in the other 23 by teaching them a mindset or teaching them the importance of holding their body together and good posture and good recruitment path. If I'm not teaching them the importance of that, then that 1 hour workout means nothing. It means nothing.
It really doesn't, which brings me to like another point within the world of physiology, which I think is somewhat funny, is the term we love to throw around, like workouts are, these are fat burning workouts. They're high intensity workouts and they burn fat. And it's so funny because if you know about the mechanisms by which the human body metabolizes, you know that what you want to truly be burning in that 1 hour session is more or less going to be glycolytic. It's going to be carbohydrate.
Oh, yeah.
You want to be focusing on, the movements that are going to stimulate fat metabolism the other 23 hours of the day.
Absolutely.
And what we know about the body is this. Generally, the fuel you burn during exercise is not the fuel you burn through the rest of the day. If you're burning fat during your workouts, you're going to burn carbohydrate during the day. And if you're burning carbohydrate during your workout, you'll prioritize fat during the day.
Yeah, it does not matter what you do. Doesn't matter what I tell my clients all the time. There's in and of itself, there's no such thing as a fat burning workout, because you could go to McDonald's and get yourself a large fry, and if you do that very same workout, I guarantee you're not going to be burning fat. I guarantee you.
No, You're gonna be burning through probably 1/4 of those fries, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky,
but the
that's
funny
right.
thing is this misconception that people have around, it taking, that one workout, man, that took some fat right off me. No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
Nope.
It just upregulated your metabolism, and it really made a big difference in the overarching goal. But it's not a one day, one workout, one meal type of thing, which is why those consultations need to be more direct. They need to be more about the why. What did this person do to get them in front of a trainer in the first place?
Yeah.
What mistakes have you been making? What lifestyle have you been living?
Right, and that's why when I have consultations with clients, I talk about lifestyle first, then we'll talk about nutrition, then we'll talk about training, because training is the least of training. Honestly, is the least of their worries. That's the time that I get to spend with them, working with them to help train them how to have good posture, how to hold their body together, how to have good recruitment patterns. But it's for the purpose of them doing that for the other 23 hours. And honestly, a lot of the conversation is about it's about nutrition, and it's about how do we implement this in the 23 hours through the rest of the week, or till the next session, or things like that. The training session itself is important, but those things are far, far more important.
The training sessions, honestly, man, with some clients, I love this analogy. It's like a confession at church. You come in to see me, we're going to move, and you're going to confess all of the things that you ate that you shouldn't have, and I'm going to tell you why that was bad and how we're going to fix it and get you back on track. And
that's right.
Realigned, and you're going to leave newly motivated, feeling like you cleansed yourself of your sins. And it's funny because that just shows you how behavioral our industry is, and how just knowing a bunch of workouts that you grabbed off Instagram is absolutely not going to help you, or it's going to help you, but it's not the main determinant of your success. Yeah,
and a good trainer too will be able to build a program, set consistency in place for their clients, to the point where if something does go wrong, like fat wasn't lost the way we thought it was going to be, weight wasn't lost the way we thought it was going to be, strength wasn't built the way we thought it was going to be, then it's very easy to pinpoint where those things went wrong. Because we know if everything goes as planned, it should happen more or less, right? And if it goes wrong, you should have created a system to where I knew, man, it was that thing that I ate. It was when I ate excess calories in this day. It was when I missed these workouts. It was when, oh man, this week I got 5 hours of sleep instead of the 7.5 that I was planning to get. It's very easy when you have a good plan to be able to pinpoint, man, those are the things that I was missing that I really need to implement again. And our job as trainers is to just continually encourage and find ways for our clients to apply those things in their lives so that they can maintain that consistency, so they can stick to that plan.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that statement more. When you're working with clients, it's so much better to front load your effort, put the effort into the programming, put it into the program design, understand the variables, understand how you should track along, how your results should progress. If there's going to be mistakes, where will they pop up? The same thing with the nutrition. And that way, the conversations aren't about why this didn't work. We can point out easily to the client why it didn't work, where we slipped up, and how we're going to course correct. Versus standing there with your thumb up your ass looking like, well, I don't know how it didn't work, man. We did like 30 fat-burning workouts this month.
Yeah. And that's why it's important too that as clients, if you're a client of a trainer, it is not your trainer's responsibility for you to reach your goals. It is not your trainer's responsibility for you to reach your goals. It's their responsibility to create the plan. It's their responsibility to create the guidance and be the motivator and the voice of truth in directing you in what direction to go. But I mean, let's be real. As trainers, we wish we could be with you the rest of the 23 hours of the day. I really wish, because that would make my job so much easier. That would. I would be able to tell you.
It really would. If I had time for every time I looked at somebody and said, I wish I could just cook your fucking food for you.
Right?
Like, where are these calories coming from? Like, they're coming from somewhere. Or I wish that I had a little camera in all my clients' house and I could watch them walk by that little candy bowl and grab a little bite each time they walked by, because I know they're sneaking those calories somewhere. But it's a discipline thing on their end. It's 100%, as you said, it's not exclusively up to the trainer to drive results. We just give you the tools and support your execution.
Yeah, and it's not like we're brushing off our hands and saying, take what we gave you and run with it. It's we have to be motivators. We have to motivate. At the end of the day, we want them to reach their goals. At the end of the day, that's why we're doing what we're doing. We're not program creators and plan creators, and we're not just creating some sort of function for them to punch their numbers in. No, we're personal trainers. It's a relationship thing. We need to be encouragers at the same time. And the problem is that some clients just don't see it as that important. No,
and most people won't. And it's interesting to point this out, because a lot of the places or the people that I see this through on a day-to-day aren't necessarily my clients, but it's the people that they love. Their loved ones, their spouses, their friends. They're not as connected to that, and it almost always takes something catastrophic, whether it's a heart attack, a diagnosis, a new medication, before people are willing to make the change. Most people just are not preemptively looking at their health. They're reactively looking at it, and it's a real big problem in our industry right now.
It's a huge problem, and then it sets in motion even more problems, because once that does happen, what do the doctors say? The doctors say you got to put off the weight. And so now we have to fight with these people on the importance of looking at the other 23 hours of their lives, seeing all the things that caused them to get to this place, but all they're thinking is weight loss. All they're thinking is, I got to do these fat-burning workouts. So if my trainer's not pushing me and making me sweat and giving me these quote-unquote fat-burning workouts, then he's not a good trainer, when that couldn't be further from the truth.
It is, and that's part of mastering your craft and being successful, is understanding that there's a degree of giving people what they want, which breeds you to give them what they need.
Right.
Because 9 times out of 10, what a client wants is very different from what the client needs.
Right.
And you have to have give and take there. And again, the same thing comes with nutrition.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why flexibility and dieting has been successful, because people get to have their wants while they can still address their needs.
Right.
And having your flexibility in your training is just as important.
Well, I tell my clients it's a dance. Because it's never going to be cut and dry. It's never going to be black and white. There's always going to be changes. You're going to want, especially with nutrition, right? You're going to want to go to a birthday party and there's going to be cake. You're going to want to have time with friends, go to BJ's, have a Pizookie. There's times for that. There's times and places for that. And the priority there sometimes changes. Your priority in that moment that when you're with your friends is not going to be your health. It's going to be enjoying that social moment with them. It's going to be enjoying that time. I tell people too, like, you're not gonna keep me away from chips and salsa, man. You're not gonna keep me away from chips and salsa. That's something I do on the regular, but that's more of like I'm Mexican, man, so you're not gonna take that away from me. That's a cultural thing, and for a lot of people, it's a cultural thing to gather and eat certain foods, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But
if it's implemented correctly, it's only going to help them reach their goals.
Absolutely.
As long as they don't go off the rails.
And the main decider here is, what are the habits? What are the habits? Is it a habit of you going to birthday parties and eating cake all the time? Is it a habit for you having chips and salsa every single day? Then that's the problem. But are you creating a habit of eating healthy food, listening to your body, having that dance of making sure that you're doing what's right for you in those moments? And as long as you can go back to those habits, then not one meal is going to make or break your progress.
Absolutely. One of the quotes I love to use with my clients is from Jocko Willink. If you're familiar with him, he's been on Joe Rogan several times. He does a lot of corporate leadership stuff. He's a former U.S. Navy SEAL, and one of the big quotes he uses that I love is, discipline equals freedom, or discipline leads to freedom. And what that means in this context is that staying disciplined and focused on your long-term goals means that you can have those Pazookies or those social outings where you just enjoy, and you don't have to beat yourself up for it because you were disciplined the other 90% of the time.
Right. We also have to be careful, too, to say that doesn't mean you schedule that 10%. You know, I don't believe... I know. What are your thoughts on like cheat meals? I just talked about this in my last podcast episode. What is your thought on cheat meals?
I think that they can be a slippery slope, especially when you look at the underlying physiological mechanisms that get triggered when you have a cheat meal. I do think it's important to have leniency in your diet. I do think it's important to have the freedom to go out and live life and be with the people you want to be with and eat the food they want to eat. But I do not think that you should schedule an entire day or make sure that you're, kind of using your abacus to scrape every little thing together so you can have exactly one halo top. I think that's not it. I think that is disordered eating, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a time and place. What are your thoughts?
I talked about it, and I really don't. I hate to say I don't believe in cheat meals because they obviously exist, but to me there's just something wrong with the idea of having self-control just for the sake of not having self-control. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's rooted in the syntax. We call them a cheat meal. Like,
right.
I'm cheating. This is bad. Like, oh, look at me go. I'm having my cheat meal. Like, okay, first off, that's pathetic.
Right.
And you're only practicing discipline so that you can break that discipline. There's an inherent problem with that.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem that I see. I truly believe in eating the foods that you love, and when you feel like you really need a freaking Halo Top, go ahead and have a Halo Top. Pizza, dude. If you feel like it's a freaking pizza day, go have pizza. But I would not schedule that, and I would not. I would want it to be a decision, not an urge. A decision and not an urge. And that's the problem. I feel like too many people eat on compulsion and not decision.
And a cheat meal quickly becomes a cheat day and a cheat weekend and a bad month and a next month and a tomorrow it starts, and it gets offhand really quickly. And to your point, if you take ownership of those things and admit that I want this right now and that I'm going to structure the rest of my week around making sure that this is okay at this point in time, that's totally cool. But I'm not going to just wait for the bomb to go off when the alarm wakes me up at Saturday for my, dozen donut morning cheat meal that I've been waiting desperately for. That's not healthy.
Right. And I think it takes away the freedom from people to make the decision just not to have unhealthy food that day, or that week, or maybe even that month. It takes away that if you schedule cheat meals and you have cheat meals consistently, where's the freedom for you to be able to say, man, I don't need that. I don't need that at all.
Right. Timer's going off. Time to eat shitty food.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree, man. I that's something that I think. And if you're truly exercising discipline throughout the week, and I think anybody who's attempted weight loss or has had success with weight loss can attest to this, if you go a long enough time without eating those foods that just make your pleasure centers in your brain go off,
you don't want them.
You don't want them anyway, or you don't want them in the amount, and a little bit almost like puts you on your ass. Don't get me wrong, there's some things that I can just put down, but if I had a donut, I'd have to sit down after that. That makes me so sick.
Well, I mean, let's be real here, man. I mean, orange chicken is one of my favorite foods, but it's been months. I think it's maybe even been a year since I've had orange chicken, simply because, dude, I don't want to spend fucking half an hour on the toilet, bro. That's the reality. I haven't had Taco Bell in about a year, I'm pretty sure. And that's because I don't want to spend 30 minutes on the toilet. For some of those people, that's a reality. Every single time they're on the toilet, they're there for a freaking hour.
I know. Which leads me to a question I had for you as it pertains to gut health. if that's something you're into.
Oh, yeah.
And the nutritional food choices that you employ with your clients, if you do, to kind of promote the health of their gut. Do you do anything special nutritionally?
As far as nutrition, I do recommend foods that will have like probiotics. I've recommended Greek yogurt. I've recommended kombucha. I've recommended having certain supplements that will help with that. I make it a consistent conversation. And every time I can give one more thing, and they learn more about their body, and they say, oh yeah, I don't need to have that. It's all about helping each and every client to pick that next thing that they can work on, and that next thing that they can work on. And I've definitely had clients who have just gone full-fledged, eating healthy food, eating food that's good for their gut, taking out foods that are not good for their gut health. And that's a big challenge for some of my clients. But the ones that have done that, oh dude, it's they're just on another level.
It really is. And you know, man, I got to give you some serious kudos, because I've been in this industry for a long time, and I completely 100% resonate with the statement you made about nutrition being an ongoing dialogue. Most people's emotional drivers with food and their, ingrained behavior with food are not going to get switched over because of a meal plan or because of one thing you did or said. Right. It is a constant discussion, adding in and subtracting and continuing to move forward, course corrections as they need to be. And I think that being able to handle this conversation with the understanding that, yeah, I'm not going to get this person to eat exactly what I want them to eat right away, and that's okay. And that nutrition, unlike training, usually is a lot more of an uphill battle. I think it's really great to hear other people are thinking like that too.
Yeah, and it's a battle worth fighting too. It's a battle worth fighting for, because there are definitely clients that I can say, hey, there are clients that I can say, use Fat Secret or use MyFitnessPal and track for the next month, just so you have a good idea of the foods that you're eating. There's clients I could totally say that to. And they will do it.
Take it and run with it and do it.
Yeah, and then there's clients who I say, hey, yeah, then there's clients that I say, hey, I want you to try this out for a week, and a week later, they're like, what app was that called again?
It's so true.
It's difficult, but I think you got to give kudos to the clients too, because the first step was them asking for guidance in their physical training, because that in and of itself, I don't think people realize how much pride you have to put down to pay someone to tell you what to do. You are literally paying someone to tell you what to do, and they're thinking it's just they're gonna lead me through a workout. But half the time it's us telling them what to do with their bodies, with their nutrition, with their thoughts, and that's intrusive. It's very intrusive if they're not on board with that. So for us, we know that it's important that their fitness be all-encompassing, but it's just that journey to helping them see it little by little, just adding more and more to that plate of fitness in your body, fitness in your nutrition, fitness in your mind, and even fitness in your spirit.
Yeah, one of my favorite coaching tools that I no longer employ, but I would love to bring it back, and something you said triggered it, was to print out a picture of my face and have the client put them in the places in their kitchen where they're most likely to go and cheat, so that they have to look me in the eyes before they go cheat. And 9 times out of 10, it dissuades them from taking that cookie or taking that beer. And it sounds hilarious, but it really speaks to the importance of the coach role, and being open to relinquishing control to somebody who has the knowledge to help you is probably something that does not get highlighted enough in our industry. To openly accept that you need a coach is 100%, in my opinion, it takes more strength than to continue without a coach.
Absolutely. And we just have to fight harder to help them to realize that they need to hand over that control in those areas of their lives that are so easy to keep hidden. It is so easy at 10 p.m. at night when you're alone with your fridge to go and have whatever you have, either ice cream or chips or another meal or fruit or whatever. It's so easy to keep that hidden. But the problem is that we see it. we don't see it when you're doing it, but we absolutely see it when you come in for your next session. We see that there may be a little bit more bloating, or we're not seeing the progress that we'd like to see, and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, it's a dance. It's a dance. Are there days when you're going to need to have those foods, emotionally, socially? Sure. And we are, as trainers, we are here to help during that dance, during that journey. Absolutely, man. And
that's the beautiful thing, that we get this incredible insight into people's lives. And I couldn't be, by my estimation, and I think that I gain just as much from my clients as they do from me. I always make an effort to take wisdom and knowledge and expertise from my clients in areas that they are, rich in.
Oh yeah.
If possible, and that makes our job all that much more rewarding when we're becoming, the student in a way, taking what they have to offer us. And I found that that's a great tool for getting them more open to what we're trying to offer them.
Oh yeah, I mean and that's how those lifelong relationships are developed. And they may not be training with you for the rest of their lives. They may, who knows? But I think that's an important thing too, is to leave the door open for that. You want to be developing relationships. You want to be learning, and you want to be teaching. Even in the sense of businesses, I've had clients that have their own businesses and they struggle with certain areas that I know I can speak to, and I will. Like it benefits not only them, it benefits me too for me to help them out with their business. But the very fact that I say anything shows that I care, because I do. You have to care about the life of the person that you're training. You have to care. And, bringing it back to what we were talking about new trainers who may not get that, it is all about that. You should not be training someone that you don't care about, because that is only going to cause to that's only going to lead to them not reaching their goals, potentially getting injured, and potentially never coming back to fitness again.
Absolutely. The quote that I love, that I'm a big quote guy, if you couldn't tell.
I can tell.
That really embodies what you just said, is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And until you've made the effort to check yourself into truly caring about someone, you're not going to give your best either. So trainers and coaches alike owe it to themselves to really make an effort to emphasize with each and every client or potential client that's in front of them, because that's the secret to bringing out the best session, the best consultation, the best programming every single time.
Yeah. And your clients are going to know. Your clients are going to know right off the bat. I mean, in the way that you conduct the sessions, and the way that you conduct the full program, the long-term behavior that you have towards them. Like I remember in my past circle of trainers, I was one of the only trainers who would tell my clients to go home. I was one of the only trainers to tell my clients to go home. It doesn't benefit me for them to go home. That's a session that I don't get during that time. But they needed that. Their body was not ready to have a session. They had so many other things on their minds that this session would just be a complete waste. I would not want them to put time into the gym when they needed to be putting time elsewhere. Or they think that it's much better to go to the gym for an hour and a half and get 4 hours of sleep rather than just going home and getting 6 hours of sleep.
That's that bodybuilder mentality that permeated fitness that just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Like, I see competitors. I'm a very early morning guy. I'm usually the first trainer in the gym. So I'm pretty used to seeing the fasted cardio crew. And the fasted cardio crew makes me mad because I hear them complaining about how tired they are and how they didn't want to wake up and come in and do their fasted cardio. But I did, and I want my badge of honor, and I literally just want to tell them, well, you wasted your fucking time because you probably would have lost more fat if you just stayed asleep.
That's right. People don't realize oh gosh, people do not realize how important your sleep is. Oh man, that's a podcast in itself.
It really is. I mean, the trick here is to understand that fasted cardio, although you are prioritizing fat metabolism for the small amount of time you are on that treadmill,
right,
you're going to upregulate carbohydrate metabolism the rest of the day, which you don't want. And you just rob yourself of sleep, which is probably the most anabolic environment you could be in. And muscle anabolism is a way bigger driver of fat loss than 1 hour of cardio.
Yeah, and then what happens when you don't get any sleep? What happens right away when you wake up? You're freaking hungry, right?
And the rest of your day is probably shit, high stress, and low functioning, which is also probably not a great environment for fat loss.
Nope, environment for gaining body fat, man. It's just stress on your body.
It's missing the forest for the trees, and that's something that I see so much in our industry, especially with new trainers or even some experienced trainers. Missing the forest for the trees.
Yeah, that's and that's why I say too. Like if you're a trainer listening to this, you need to keep all those things in mind. And is it going to hurt to not have that session? Is it going to prolong you getting paid? Is it going to, make it so that the numbers that you're getting aren't as high? It's going to be all those things. But your responsibility when you signed that client was not to yourself. Your responsibility was to that client. And so if you know that if they go into that session and they're going to lose sleep over it, and you know that it's better for them to get that sleep, but you still train them, shame on you. Like literally, shame on you. They're trusting you with their bodies. They're trusting you with that guidance. And so if you are not making those decisions and making the right decisions at that moment, and again, if you know better, okay, we're all learning, we're all growing. You may not have realized that right now, and maybe you're just hearing this from us right now, and now you're going to have to put those pieces together. But you got to make those decisions for the clients and think about them before you think about yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a one-way ticket out of the industry right there, is trainers that are only focused on their paycheck are the trainers that get out even more quickly than trainers that are only focused on their fitness. Yeah. I mean, if you get into this industry to make a ton of money and you do it unethically, you'll be out of the industry very quickly. There are a few people, especially with the rise of social media, who have definitely been able to capitalize on insecurities, and they do their challenges or their supplements or whatever, and they're making bank, and we all know who they are, and we don't need a name drop. But honestly, as just a grassroots trainer who's really making an effort to impact his clients in person, you need to play the long game. One day, one session, 1 hour is not worth the program, the results, or the rapport you built with that client. You need to take the entire picture into consideration every single time.
Absolutely. And we're coming up on the new year, and those 30-day challenges and those, the 6-week challenges, 30-day challenges, those are all going to be coming up. And I can't explain how upsetting and how sometimes even heartbreaking it is when someone signs up for these things, okay, and then in the last week, in the last 5 days, they're asking me, what's one way that I can lose 10 pounds in 5 days? Or can you tell me how to lose as much weight as possible in 10 days? or in 5 days, 3 days, whatever. Like they didn't have a good program, they didn't have a good plan, and therefore they think that the answer is going to be to kill themselves for a week or kill themselves for this short amount of time so that they can lose the weight, so the number can go down, when that is one of the most horrible things that they could do for their bodies. One of the most horrible things they could do for their bodies.
Well, yeah, the inherent, I think, ethical issue I have with these challenges is the majority of them are focused on things like weight and aesthetic, and they prey on insecurity, and they measure on things that are only a small piece of the picture. So not only are they setting people up to fail, but even if people succeed, you might just be setting them up for long-term, potentially disruptive exercise habits or feedback loops, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely. And my question is, with these 30-day challenges, why don't we put body fat percentage in there? Why don't we put like squat depth in there? Why don't we put how close you can put your hands on the shoulder dislocate bar, on the PVC pipe? Why don't we do some actual challenges that may benefit the health, the strength, the mobility, the overall health of their body? Like, why don't we put things like that in the 30-day challenge rather than something so, juvenile as weight? To us trainers, we can see it as juvenile because the weight doesn't mean anything. But it's just been so mainstream that weight is the best indicator for your health, and it's just not the truth.
It is. It's probably the most prevailing fallacy in the industry that, weight loss is the primary indicator of health and wellness. And I love to think of weight loss as a side effect of health and wellness, but it's been exploited by the fitness industry forever, as long as we've had a fitness industry.
Yeah, hashtag BMI.
It's so easy to exploit. Yeah, as has BMI, right? I know, it's so bad. But it's too easy, man. A 30-day challenge on weight loss, everybody wants to see the scale go down. So the more people sign up for, the more money I'm going to make. And you're not making lasting change. You're just getting a little bit of green in your wallet. I'd love to see the person who's able to level up and make a 90-day challenge or even a 6-month challenge, or something that holds people to a level of accountability in which they can grow and develop. Because even if you do succeed in this 30-day challenge, now what? It's been 30 days. Are you done? Absolutely not.
Yeah, your fitness is over.
You are.
Yeah, but that's what some people will do, right? That's what some people will do. They'll say, I'm gonna devote these 30 days to my fitness, and then that's my hurrah, that's my Hail Mary, and if I don't lose all this weight, well, then I guess it's just not for me,
Yeah. When people say, like, that's the big one that kills me, fitness and working out, it's not for me. Like, okay.
You don't walk around in a body?
Taking care of your body not be for you? You don't, and really what it's rooted in is the appearance of the person, because they don't look as good as people that are really focused on their fitness. And when they do focus on their fitness, they don't necessarily instantaneously become these beautifully aesthetic people. That fitness just isn't for them. There's so many more facets to fitness, so many things that being in good shape unlocks, that every single person, regardless of their, physical response to exercise, should be a priority.
Yeah, and that's why too. We could talk all day about what the average person, where their mindset is, and I don't want muscles. Too bad you have them. I don't want to focus on strength. Well, you're going to have it when you get older. But at the end of the day, that's why we're here. That's why we have the job that we do. And it's not to point these things out. It is to help people to realize the importance of them and to convey that message. And that is the fight that we're in. Being a trainer is all about focusing on those relationships with the people that you have in front of you, the influence that you have, whether that's locally or whether that's online, and just speaking to encouragement, motivation, and truth. The truth about what is actually going to help them, and them specifically with their bodies, them specifically with what's going to help them have an optimal lifestyle, an optimal health, optimal body. Does that look the same for everybody? Absolutely not. And that's why we're here, to help them with that.
I couldn't agree more, man. I think it's a beautiful sentiment, and I think that there's a drastic need for more of that in the world and more of that in our industry, especially seeing as how I don't think there's going to be any shortage of personal trainers or need for them anytime soon. With the way that our society is treating food and illness. And to know that there's other people out there like myself that share that sentiment is extremely encouraging. And I hope that as many people as possible could hear what you just did. We have a duty in this industry to be available to those that need us, not be critical, and, be exactly what we need to be to help them be successful. And a good trainer is able to wear many hats without ever losing sight of their underlying why and their underlying truth for doing what they do.
Absolutely. Man, I've really enjoyed this conversation. Where can we find you? What's your social medias?
Yeah, man. You can find me on social. I'm currently on Instagram, and the handle is @MindPumpDanny. What you'll find there is a variety of fitness, nutritional posts, things that I'm trying to create, generate content to just give value to anybody who might be perusing the internet looking for value. I'm currently not offering any online coaching or things of that nature, just at this point with where things are at in my life. And I'm really just looking to publish content that has high quality fitness information.
Awesome conversation, man. Thank you so much for connecting with me.
Thanks so much for your time.
You take care.
You too, man.